And the first thing is just to be relaxed, hands to either side. Classically in yoga, you have your hands forward, you sit more up, you extend your heels. I find that incredibly uncomfortable, so you can just relax. And it's very simple, toes forward and toes up a few times. I know in the Buddhist world you shouldn't display your feet at people, apparently it's terribly rude. And in one of the London, could be the Buddhist temple place, I think it is actually, they go almost nuts if you're sitting with your feet facing the Buddha statue there, which is interesting. I was looking, because Joss is setting off to another road trip today, going through the Channel, which will necessitate the M25, and of course they're the eco-warrior people there. So have their biggest fear is that they're going to get through that and then just begin to circle. Yeah, it was one way. Claudia went to the wrong bloody restaurant last night.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh dear.
There's always one.
Should I
What, you went to the
When did
Ivy?
she-
Go to the
Downstairs?
Ivy. I sent her a copy of the booking, the Ivy Asia.
Oh, so,
Sort of like,
so she finally thought, I've gone to the wrong place and
Something-
found you.
yes, something clicked in her mind. I don't know. It's just, this doesn't bode well for future years, does it? And then just circled the other way. And one of the things for not just arthritis but for health generally is something we've done before, just bouncing and rubbing and patting and doing whatever. Charlotte's done her back in.
Sorry?
Charlotte's done her back in.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
Well, since Monday.
She's like, got bad back.
Sweet.
I wonder if she goes to Colette's and does very extreme something.
I go to
And it's
the
not,
swim.
do you?
Yeah, I swim.
And it's not,
I don't
it's
do
just swimming.
pretty much.
And it's not good for her, which she's not. I don't know. I went to Forest Mere and did an exercise class with a guy, super fit, young, and it was more yogic than the stretch and flows was billed at. But I was thinking, well, all the women in the class was more flexible than him. So he was stretching it was like that, muscles and everything, and all women were sort of effortlessly going down. It was really quite funny. I think women are naturally more flexible than men.
Yeah.
So just come to, it doesn't matter which knee, and just very gently float it.
It's killing me today.
Is it? So
Well, it is a groin part, there.
yeah, we'll have a look at that too. So that's all under the joints really. So just think on this. Nikki's husband, age 49, had a hip replacement operation in Mount Alvernia in Guildford yesterday.
Nikki, yoga teacher.
Her husband.
49.
49.
Is he an avid cyclist? Or?
He is. What a surprise.
Oh, well, that's it. That's what's done it.
That's
over
what's
the
done it.
years,
Can't say the
literally.
same for me.
You only have a
Just make
certain
you feel
number
good.
of years before something wears
Wow.
out. And
My dad.
if you've gone absolutely mad, obviously there are exceptions. If you've gone absolutely mad with something, it's going to come to you sooner rather than later.
He
Isn't
was
it?
Dad was a really big footballer and golfer,
Mm.
and it caught up with him.
Yeah.
How flexible are you to do that?
Yeah.
And then just
Yeah.
hold your foot and just circle it, circle your ankle one way. If it's too much, just be comfortable. And then the other way. And then for arthritis of the feet. If you can't bear this, just hold your feet on the top. But if you can bear it, thread your fingers through.
I'll put my socks on still.
So just go over the top.
So I
I
can't
will
flip
take
flops.
No, I
in
can-
between my eight.
Putting things
You've
through my
imitated flip-flops
Yes, I have.
since we were about
Mm.
11.
Alone. Oh gosh, you're going back.
So yesterday, wasn't it? It was. Not long ago.
And then just circle your ankles one way then the other. And then just let your hands relax rather, not release. And then your feet do the work. And that's a whole different experience where your feet are actually making a movement. And then release. And then get your knuckles. Actually, you see this would come into your massage, wouldn't it?
Mm,
Get your
yeah.
knuckles. Anywhere up in particular, because I tend to go under the big ball.
Yes, I mean, if you do across the, particularly at the moment with sort of coughs and colds around, if you do your knuckles into the balls of your feet, those are the reflex points for your lungs. So
Right.
that can help. Yes. But I mean, it's quite good doing it all the way down. Really, it's all the different areas. But
All kind of massaging. Now, all of this can be done to the hands, but we'll get to that in a moment. And then just hug the knee into the chest. Hips. We'll do this on the ground. Just circle the knee just a little bit. We'll be able to get a big rotation here, and then the other. So just a nearest movement is enough. So hips is where you see yourself going forward in life. So it's often at a juncture with a big change, like
Interesting.
daughter getting married type thing, where somebody majorly moves that, or it's where am I going in life?
What's that connection? Sorry.
So the hips is where you're going, or seeing, just bounce your legs, where you're going forward in life. And a lot of people get to major crunch points in their life, and like, where am I going, where do I want to live? We've had a big change, move, marriage, daughter,
Daughters. Varying things.
various things. Oh yes. Claudia hadn't realised that they'd been split up from Tim. I had no idea.
well, yeah, so she hasn't spoken to anyone, has she?
So just if you can, just go to the other side, yes. And the same. So Rose, you might just want to put your hand over. So this particular set of exercises comes within something called the Parwin McSturner exercises. They're anti-rheumatic. Parwin are the winds, the energies in the body, and the asana bit is the moving of the winds, the energies. The asana bit is an asana, is pose, and they're the anti-rheumatic group, as I said, and they are really, you can thread your fingers through or not, really helpful for the joints. So what happens is that the joints move, but they don't get moved through their full rotation. So if you're being really interested, you would almost use your hand to circle the foot as well, and then the other way, and then circle your ankle. Just gets in a little bit more than it might do normally. You can relax your hands and let your feet do the work. And then just make knuckles when you're ready. Just go over your feet. Just getting circulation going through. As we get older, our hearts distribute, or we lose strength basically, and our hearts don't pump out completely. They kind of just come in slightly, which is why older people, their circulation often get yellow toenails.
My toenails, I've got one that's a bit dodgy. Yellow. It's hardened.
A bit of injury,
I
a bit
put
of
some stuff on the ointments, but they don't do a lot.
not.
It's just on one.
Just on one. It's pretty good. It's just yes.
So that's circulation.
Something hasn't quite got through, so it
Yes,
just
I should do this.
it's just all this, and then just release out and bounce, and then just breathing in, turn the head to the left, and then turn the head to the right. You can slightly dip your chin to your chest as you go to the left. And slightly dip your chin to your chest as you go to the right. And then come back to the centre. And then just hands up and down a couple of times. So if you were having difficulty in sitting upright, you would do one hand at a time. So somebody perhaps with doing chair yoga, you might mind you sitting up. And then just circling the wrists one way. And then circling the wrists the other way. open and close the fingers, shake. And then if you just pull, you're creating a mini space in the gap of the joints, just the tiniest little space, and that kind of stops that stagnation just building up.
Right, the gaps, so it creates gaps.
Tiny,
Okay.
I mean, just the slightest, just the subtlest pulling, it just releases, and then you can circle the offending finger if you've got one way and the other way. You can just massage the side on the bad fingers if that's, again, if you've got lumps there, it might hurt to do that. You're just easing out, remembering that toxins accumulate in joints, and the joints where there's been injury or there's that kind of static aspect of the scar tissue is where any kind of stagnation and accumulation can start to build up. And then do the other hand. I don't think our climate helps.
Wet, remember damp.
Quite a lot of people need it.
Yes, atmospheric pressure as well.
Yeah, you said this, and it's interesting, isn't it? I was looking at it a little bit more. And just backs of the hands one way, and then just another way. So we're going to do our stretches, but instead of standing, we're going to do them lying. So come to the floor, and we will come to bending our knees, but for the moment, just stretching out. And just check if you've got space above you. If you don't need to move, Rosie, but just when you stretch up behind you,
No,
perhaps bend your
Okay.
elbows and stretch up the wall.
go up the wall a bit. Go further forward.
So, hopefully we've got to move. Well, we've already done our ankles and our hands to a certain extent, so we can just simply palms down alongside you. Extend the right heel and bend the right elbow to stretch the right arm up above you. It can be up or behind you, you can bend the elbow, just whatever feels comfortable. As you breathe in, just stretch a little bit more onto the arm. And then when you next breathe out, start to breathe out and then start to lower the arm and totally relax the right foot. And then when you're ready, extend your left heel and on inhalation, bend the left elbow and totally stretch up above you. Relax the back of the hand, maybe on the ground. As you breathe in, just stretch again. And next, have an out breath. Start the out breath. And then halfway through almost, you'll find that your arm will naturally want to lift up. It lessens the effort to lower the arm and just totally release the left foot. And then we're going to come to bend the knees, feet are on the ground, and feet can be slightly wider than hip width apart, palms down alongside you. Then just start to sway the knees from side to side, and your hips will lift off the ground. So you breathe into the centre, the knees come up to the centre, and as you breathe out, the hips lift, the knees drift to the other side. Then you can sway a little bit, or you can sway right down to the side and linger there. So you choose your pace. You're meant to be coordinating the movement of your breath, so breathing out as the knees go to the side, breathing in as they come up centre, but if you want to linger for a few breaths. And then you might find that the back of your head is relaxing into the ground, and
your head's moving as well. Yogically, our head would move in the direction, but away from the direction of the knees. You can just move with the direction of the knees. And come to the centre with the knees. And we're going to come to look at the hips. So just bring maybe your feet a little bit closer to your bottom, maybe make your feet more hip width apart, but be comfortable. And then just hug the left knee into the chest. For the moment, keep the right knee bent. Knee to chest pose. So it's beginning to work on the lower energy, which is the energy all around the lower abdominal area and the hips. And this can often get stuck. It's the elimination energy, and of course it includes the hips. And then you can hold your left knee with two hands for a small movement. If you really feel that you want to rotate your, or look at your hips in depth, you can drop your left knee to the left and just hold it with the left hand. And your right hand rests somewhere on your right hip on the floor. I'm going to hold my left knee with two hands. I get more control. And then just start to circle the left knee. So the top of the leg fibre moves in the into hip socket. And that's where cyclists overdo it, or runners even, because they are continually pounding the leg and the hip socket in exactly the same direction all the time, and they don't include the rotational aspect. And what happens is the lack of use, the muscles slightly contract and they pull inwards, they contract slightly, which pulls the hip slightly out of alignment. And then with that aggressive movement all the time, you've got repetitive kind of aspect of the movement, and then it can start to build on degeneration. Just begin to circle the other way. I do think 49 is quite young to have hip replacement. I know it does happen. And this is one of the safest ways to keep your hips healthy and out of trouble. And then just hug the left knee into the chest. Open the left knee to the left and place the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Now then, you can experiment sliding your ankle or placing it where it suits you, so that you can open it minimally or open to lock. And palms, hands down on the floor or resting on your abdomen, and just sway both knees from side to side. So this opens almost the inner groin a little bit too, and the outer hip. It's a piriformis muscle on the outside of the hip that this targets. And if you're feeling that you want to stretch this a little bit further, it's optional, you can stay where you are. Bring the knee to the centre, the right knee to the centre, tummy in, perineum engages slightly, and lift your right foot off the floor, holding under your right leg. That already will stretch out your left hip. If that's too much, then come back to your right foot on the floor and just sway from side to side. I think that would be enough, but if you particularly wanted to, and you've got the space, you can just lift your right knee slightly towards your face. That will increase the stretch on the left hip. And if you've really got space, which I'm not sure that I have, you can hold the outside of your right knee. That really does encourage you to open your left hip. If your chin has shot up to the ceiling, you've gone too far. So choose whatever works for you. It's quite a good stretch for the outer hip. And then just very, very gently place the right foot on the floor and support the left knee to hug it in and place the left foot on the floor. Don't worry, we'll come to the inner groin as well. Just sway the knees from side to side. And when you're ready, come to hugging the right knee into the chest. Just enjoy. The body takes a minute or two to relax into a pose. And then choose whether you want both hands or just one hand. Start to circle the right knee in one direction. One hand and the hip opens further to the right, and so your circle is wider. And when you're ready, circle the right knee in the opposite direction. And then hugging the right knee back into the chest. And open the right knee to the right, placing the right ankle on the left upper thigh. Hands can be palms down, resting on the abdomen. Perhaps palms down is easier, and just gently sway your both knees from side to side. Your sway can be tiny, or it can actually be quite significant, so that you almost roll right to the right and almost to the left. So you choose. Centre. And again, you can opt to lift the left foot off the ground and clasp the hands under the left thigh. That's opening the right thigh. You might feel that. If that's too much, then bring your left foot to the ground. So this is called, it is working on the inner thigh, but not that much. The focus is on the outer thigh. If that's very easy, then you can lift your left knee slightly closer to the face and or place your hands around your outer left knee, checking that your chin doesn't shoot up to the ceiling. Just choose what's comfortable for you. The more you lift your left knee towards the face, the more you'll feel this on the right outer thigh, which can almost be agonising. And then just choose the level you want to be at. And then very gently place the left foot on the floor. Hug the right knee into the chest. And then just hold the right leg underneath the right thigh. Raise the right leg to the floor and just shake the right leg out. You can shake a little bit, you can really shake a lot. And hugging the right knee into the chest. Place the right foot on the floor and transfer your hands under your left thigh and raise your left leg up to the ceiling, just shake. your left leg. Just release the left leg to the floor. And arthritis can often then translate to the spine, lower spine, anywhere on the spine. So just bringing some movement to the spine, hands palms down, knees are up to the ceiling, feet are hip widths apart, and just start a couple of pelvic tilts, flattening the back, and then moving the tailbone in the opposite direction away from you towards the floor. So there's a little gap under the spine. Just a couple of times. You're just giving the nearest movement to the lower back. And as we're doing that, the other part of the support for the lower back is our tummy, the abdominal muscles. If they are weak in any way, then half your support has kind of gone. So a very safe focus on the core. Just coming back to neutral with your back, just resting it on the floor. Bend your elbows and clasp your hands under your head. Elbows are out like a butterfly. If you'll stiffen your shoulders, then you can lessen the effect of your elbows out like a butterfly by bringing the elbows in a little bit. And breathing out, supporting your head and neck, lift up a few inches, maybe a little bit. You'll feel your abdominal muscles engaged, so only lift where it's comfortable for you, and that could be a few millimetres. And then just release back. If your tummy starts to round, you've gone too far. Just taking in and an out breath. And then once more, as you breathe out, flatten the back to the ground. Your elbows might come together. As you lift up, your chin comes to your chest. Just feel your abdominal muscles engage. And then just when you're ready, release back. Once your head's connecting to the earth, just slide your hands out from underneath the back of your head, placing the head very gently back onto the floor. And if you've got your bolster handy, have your bolster perhaps to the left of you. If you don't need your bolster, that's fine, it's just a support. So thinking about hips and the inner groin now, slide the right foot away from you and have your bolster underneath your upper left thigh as you open your knee out to the left in line tree. So the support under your left thigh will stop you opening out too wide. It can hurt sometimes if you open out too wide. Hands either resting on your abdomen or resting on the floor. This is a restful pose. So you're now looking at the inner groin rather than the outer groin. Very connected to the menopause and post-menopause. Blood flow supplying into the lower abdominal area. And actually also very helpful for men as well, to get blood into this area, and having the support and doing one leg at a time is quite useful to create space in the area. And the more if it hurts or there's any stiffness there, then you can have the support under your left thigh higher and higher, so that you're barely opening the leg at all. And then just very gently take your left hand under the left thigh and just use your left hand to support the left leg to bring it upwards. Hug the left knee into the chest, that's easily available to you. And then just release the left leg along the floor, taking your support, your bolster, and transferring it to the right side. When you're ready, slide your right leg in and hug your right knee into the chest. And then when you're ready, begin to open the right knee to the right. Just adjust the bolster to support you to where you feel like it's supported. Sole of your right foot is looking towards your inner left thigh. Doesn't have to be in precisely, it's just a nod to that. Hands where they're comfortable. Just relax now, the groin on the right side. So the inner groin, it's the also the lymphatic area, lower lymphatic area. As I said, you can have as much high support as you like under the right thigh, so that you're barely opening the right thigh. And you can stay here if you do this at home for quite a few breaths, 10 breaths, 20 breaths, a few minutes. You'll get to the point where you think, oh no, I've had enough, I want to come out of that. And when you're ready, again, to support the leg, just slide your right hand somewhere underneath your thigh, just to lift the right leg up. And then hug the right knee into the chest again. And keep the right knee hugged into the chest as you bend your left knee and let the left knee join your right. And just very gently rock slightly from side to side. So this will go into the lower spine. Just massaging across the base. And back to the centre. As you breathe in, raise the left leg and the left arm up behind you. Extend the left heel. You can bend at the left elbow and you can keep your left leg soft at the knee. And then breathing out, hugging your left knee back into the chest. Just relax. And when you're ready, come to the left side, breathing in, extend the left leg, or the right leg, sorry, up to the ceiling, right arm up behind you. Breathing out, hugging the right knee into the chest. And once more to each side in your own breath time. Left leg, left arm up. Extend the heel if you can. If you can't, don't worry. Hug the left knee into the chest. On the right side. And then both knees, you're holding both knees out, away from you to arm's length. Both knees hug back into the chest. And just repeat that a few times to your own breath. You should start to feel the blood almost tingling at the lower back area. Although the lower back isn't the hips, actually they're all kind of quite connected. Just enjoy the last one. Just placing the feet onto the floor. Just slightly sway the knees from side to side. And then we're going to roll onto the side. We're going to ultimately come to all fours onto our tabletop. And come to have the knees slightly wider apart. And come into your version of child. So it can be hands stacked one on top of each other so that you're not coming down quite so far. It could be stretching the hands out, stretching out the back completely. It's getting
Never mind, I got there eventually.
hands up. And then as a nod to dog, quarter dog. So stretch out your right arm and bring your left arm across you in front of you. Maybe rest your forehead on the back of your left wrist, left forearm. You don't have to come right back onto your knee. Your bottom can be up slightly if you want to. You're just stretching out your right side. Your right arm can be straight, but it can also be bent as well, just to where you feel you can stretch. You can increase the sense of stretch on your right side by just looking your right hand towards the left slightly. That will really stretch out your right side, and the more you let your bottom sink back towards the heels, the more of a stretch you'll feel. Tummy in as you walk your right hand, if you've looked it over, to back to its position. And then slide your right arm in and your right elbows out to the right, your right hand fingers are pointing to the left, and slide your, reverse position, and slide your left arm forwards, resting your forehead perhaps on the back of your right arm. And if you want to increase that stretch, just very gently walk your left hand, your fingers over towards the right. And that will increase the stretch on the left side. If your knees are hurting, we're going to be coming out of this, but you can always lift your bottom slightly just to take the pressure off. And then gradually walk the left fingers back, slide your left hand in, come back to tabletop. And we're not going to stand up for very long, but just tuck your toes, dipping your back, looking up, flatten your feet, rounding chin to chest. Tuck your toes, looking up. Keep your toes tucked as you round, chin to chest. Bring your hands towards you, and then come to rolling up to stand, whatever that works for you. Tummy in, perineum engaging. Walk your feet to your hands to your feet. You can stay in a slight forward bend, bending the knees. Coming up to very gradually standing. And then you come to the shoulders. Lift and roll the shoulders. Lift and roll one shoulder. Lift and roll the other shoulder. Lift and roll both shoulders. Because the shoulders are joints as well. Hands to the collarbones as you breathe in, just hands out. Breathing out, hands out. Hands out. And hands back. And again, hands out. And hands back. Depending on where you are with your underarms, just keep your fingers on the collarbones and begin to circle the elbows. So classically you should bring the elbows together, that's quite a stretch. So just aiming towards each other, just circling one way. You feel this under your arms. And then circling the other way. Don't worry if your elbows don't meet, mine not particularly. And then to set your shoulders in perfect alignment, lift them and roll them back. Sets them, and then just drop your hands. And then just gently sway from side to side. And slightly slowly swaying down. And we come to think about the neck. We looked at the neck a little bit before, it's again another set of complicated joints. So we come to stand feet comfortably hip width apart. The neck is complex, not meant to be spun round. So in yoga there is a sort of, well, you swirl your head round, but people tend to put their head back, and that's kind of, it has benefits. So we'll just do a very half version. Drop the chin to the chest as we did before, like a pendulum, just head up to one side, only to where the head goes. Drop the chin to the chest, the other half pendulum. Come back to the other side. There are benefits in doing a complete circle, but as I said, it also comes at those neck vertebrae weren't meant to be kind of swung around. Just keep it very safe. Chin to chest. Place one hand on the chest as you lift your head up. That supports that lengthening. Bring your head upright. And then just kind of very, very gently to just tapping above the eyebrows. And then tapping underneath the eyes. Any other points too on all the massage therapy that are good to tap? And then just take the fingers of one hand, just very gently stroke across the forehead. Take them off the temple and just start again. If you've got a headache, very soothing to go across. In this way. And then just very, we are going to come to sitting in a moment. You think of the bones of the head being immovable, but they're not. Just place your hands to either side of your head, just subtly drop your chin, and just press inwards slightly, the thumbs behind your ears. It's almost holding your head. You can then just start to very gently almost circle your finger pads in one direction. So you're really massaging across your temples. I mean, this is a very vulnerable area. It's actually very comforting, and then just circle the other way. It connects into acupressure points into the head, so it connects to all kinds of functions.
Relaxing.
It's the opening sequence for Reiki. Is it the opening sequence for Indian head massage?
Yeah.
So it's a very Anything else you want to add, Sue, to this particular point?
Well, there's just pressure points all over your head, so you could it's just very relaxing to just find what you feel. It feels nice for different people, different places, really. Is to put pressure points and move them around, just stimulate your scalp and just move around. Circular motion, you can often find just different points which feel better for you than others,
Yeah.
depending on how you're feeling.
Any of the acupressure points kind of is a dent in your head, isn't it?
Yes. But some people just prefer certain points. It seems to be a choice, personal choice really a lot of the time, what people like. And just practice on your own head and just find the areas that feel best for you.
There are also some major points at the top of the head, and they're just big dents, almost just over the top of the head. There's one a little bit further, and those can be quite helpful, just putting a hand over the head and just massaging that way. Because each part of the head reflects into a body function. There's an Ayurvedic map of the head for each little point.
Yeah,
and
it's
quite
the same with the
fascinating.
Indian head massage as well. It's
Absolutely.
depending on where.
The jaw also carries a lot of tension, so just coming down to the jaw behind the ears.
And the occipital muscle at the back of the head, at the base of your skull is very good. I mean, that's great with headaches as well.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's very nice to.
It's just at the
Yeah, your occipital muscles just come up. Where you've got the base of your skull just goes into like two parts at the back of your ears, just under there. There's a large muscle that goes up under there. That's quite stress busting.
Finding the right angle of your head to get into that. Isn't it?
Yeah. You could just have a practice if you're feeling a bit bored, just have 5 minutes and see what.
It's amazing how many dips there are on your head.
Amazing when you find. Yes.
Yeah. Gosh, do I
You
use
don't
my
really
head?
notice them normally with all your hair. So it's,
Did you see Sarah Beanie?
yeah, I know. Bless her.
What's that? Sarah Bean?
Well, she's got breast cancer, but she's
She
having
has it. it's all
chemo.
that stress about bloody house.
Oh,
Yes.
probably.
Oh,
Children.
Yeah.
4 boys.
Poor
And
Liz.
yeah, so she's having chemo and she's losing her hair, so she just shaved it all off. So she was on the front of
Really?
the post
saw
of the
her on
weekend.
Instagram.
It's very brave.
Gosh,
She's
so I
lovely
didn't
looking.
notice that.
Lovely looking
Yeah.
girl, isn't she?
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah,
And then just
anyway.
Come down to seated. And sitting however you want, legs out, cross-legged. I don't mind.
Concentrate.
I'm getting there in the first place.
Oh, nice for a gymnast. It's part now, I'm paying for it.
You can imagine, yes. I'm just thinking Phil's gone to his funeral today. His mum's gone with her carer in a walker. And getting in and out of the car is like a major. Phil's on hand to literally haul her out. But she kind of clings on to them.
It's stressful
They
for
find it
Phil.
so difficult because
Yes, they do, don't
You
they?
haven't got so much wrong with
you
you.
can have a
It's
circular thing that you can. Like
like they do with the
Susan.
babies, they've got baby seats like that, nowadays you'd have to sort of get in a funny angle, but now they've got ones that you could, they're on like a swivel.
Like
Yeah.
a
So they come
yeah.
round and then
Yeah.
you could swivel it round.
Yeah,
They
swivel
can
system.
do that for old people.
Well, we tried that with Mike and it
Yes.
didn't really work.
Does it not? No, it's,
So,
it's
so what's
a
it
swivel
called?
round.
Hard to tell, Phil. I don't know.
I don't know, swivel seats, I suppose.
Oh dear, poor Phil.
So,
I saw him leaving. I thought he was. I just looked at him, thought in my head, oh, he's doing something nice today, like going to golf.
No, he
Yes,
was
the red
dressed-
car had gone.
Yeah, red cardigan. He was in his. He had a shirt on, but he had a fleece on it. So he'll take the shirt off, put a jacket on or something.
When he gets to the funeral.
When he gets.
Where does he have to go to?
He has to go to register to mummy to sort something out. There's always a list that she phones up ahead of what he has to do, and then mummy goes with carer to somewhere in Bognor, or near Chichester, I think. So I don't know. His very eccentric godmother. They family seem to have lots of interesting people. And yeah, so there you go, Nero. She was 94, I think. Or 93. Wasn't that age? So we're going to do a breathwork exercise, which is a moving meditation, and it connects to the heart. So you might like to either set your intention, or think of somebody, wish them well, or think of several people. So you think of several people, different ways of doing it. You mentally think of one person and mentally put them in that heart, and then think of the next person. Or you can mentally think of someone in your palm and shrink them, and then put the next person in. So you're sending the wish to lots of people. But whatever you want to do, breathing in, just very, very gently open the hands. Breathing out, chin goes to chest. We'll just do that a couple of times. There is a modification to that. I don't know if we'll do that. You're connecting to the element of air and the sense of touch, because you feel the air through the hands, and the hands connect to the heart. It's quite easy to see that connection. So the heart in the whole of the animal kingdom, not just us, links the physical aspect of our bodies with the emotional side of it. Connects to both. So in yoga, you have lots more movement and exercise and asana through this area. And even though you think you're not doing very much, by lifting the head up, you're going into extension. If you lift the chin a bit further, it's almost back bend. And breathing out as your chin goes to chest, you're coming forward and activating the vagus nerve, so it's calming the nervous system, but more importantly, coordinating the movement with your breath, which also calms the nervous system. And calming the nervous system and activating the vagus nerve, coming back to arthritis and stiffness of the joints, is anti-inflammatory, along with diet, as we've talked about. I'm keeping my arms quite close, but you can be more open and really open your chest if you want to. Stretches your heart muscle as well, which I should have said. As you open your arms, you're stretching across the heart muscle. It's a moving breath and moving meditation. And just do another couple. Make this next one last, and just keep your hands at the heart centre. And just focus your breath on your breath, perhaps going in the nostrils. And this time make it for you. And as you breathe in, breathe out and mentally put into your out breath, into like a basket, anything that's not serving you today, and that can be emotional or physical, any pains. Just invite the body and the mind to let them go. And each out breath we become cleaner, both and lighter. And you imagine that you're putting all the rubbish, so the out breath is heavy and it's dark as it's carrying away everything that's not serving us. You're left with fresh pink washed, light organs, light breath, light mood, light emotions. And then perhaps set the intention for your day, the wish for you. And then
bear for yourself. Thank you very much for joining me today.